Catalina from thegroomingtoreality.com, and today I have a really fun video for you. We are going to be using freezer paper and we're gonna be making a couple of projects. But before we go into it, hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss notifications. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. It means the world to me. Now, let's go back to the freezer paper. Freezer paper is a great crafting tool. A lot of crafters actually use it because it allows you to bond the paper when you press it with an iron or an easy press or whatever, and on the coated side, and it just creates a perfect seal that allows you to paint on it. And today we are going to make a t-shirt, and we're also going to make some socks. There's two ways that you can cut freezer paper with your Cricut. One is by just cutting it on its own, and that's okay. I mean, if you don't have a lot of letters that can fall out, this is a great way to do it. And the other way is by using a carrier sheet. Carrier sheets are very common and they're used a lot in vinyl, and is the surface that keeps the vinyl together. So when you're reading it, you can have whatever design you want because it stays there until you transfer it. It's very popular, and if you have some carrier sheets that you've stored somewhere, you can use them, or you can also buy the carrier sheet online, and that's what I did. I bought a giant roll. If you have some carrier sheets from vinyl that you used in the past, you can use it for this project. And if not, you can also buy the roll on Amazon. I can leave you the link down in the description. Whatever, it will work. Now, let's go to Cricut Design Space and let's see how to cut the freezer paper using carrier sheets or on its own. Okay, let's go. We are in Cricut Design Space. And these are the two projects we are going to cut. The I love running late, isn't it silly, is going to be for a pair of socks. And then the hashtag dreamer is going to be for a t-shirt. If you want to follow along, or if you feel lost and you enjoy reading and feel you learn better by reading, I hear you. And I wrote an amazing article that you can check out with all of the projects and ideas I've made so far. And you can find all the information about the paint I'm gonna be using, and download some files for you to follow along as well. I'm gonna be adding the I love running late later on, and you can download them here. So yes, I really encourage you to check this article out. Even if you don't have a Cricut, I show you some tips and techniques to use a precision knife. I just care for everyone, for the people that like videos and the people that like writing. Okay guys, now let's go back to Cricut Design Space. Okay, these are the designs that I'm gonna use, and I already resize them to fit my socks and my t-shirt. Okay, so if you have a maker, select your maker, and if you have an Explore machine, select the Explore machine. I have a maker, but I'm gonna give you what are the things that you need to do in case you have an Explore machine. Now let's click on Make It. This design is gonna go on my t-shirt, and I'm going to be using just the paper on its own. I'm gonna place it coated side down, and I'm just gonna cut it, nothing fancy. So I don't have to do anything here. However, for my socks, I am going to be using carrier sheets. And since I'm gonna be using carrier sheets, I need to mirror the design. This is gonna make sense when I show you how to place the material and give you a little explanation of how freezer paper works. So let's go ahead and continue and let's select our materials. Now, I'm going to select freezer paper. I have it here. If you have a Cricut Explorer, you can set the Smart Set dial on custom material and then select it from Cricut Design Space. I need the fine point blade and I just need to press go. So let's just go to the overhead shots to see how to cut the freezer paper with these two techniques. Since freezer paper is such a thin material, I'm going to be using the light grip mat. It's perfect for this sort of materials. And I want to give you a little introduction about freezer paper. If you've never seen it before, let me cut a little bit. I don't know if you can see it well, but freezer paper has two sides. One is like a regular finish, like normal paper, and the other side is coated. When you're gonna cut freezer paper on its own, you have to place it with the coated side down and cut on the regular size. And when you're using carrier sheets, let me show you here. This is the roll I bought and this is the carrier sheet. Can you see it well? You need to place your freezer paper regular side down and the coated side needs to be facing up. Now, let's see how to do it on its own first. I have my freezer paper here. It's a gigantic roll. Let me just cut it real quick. Let's start with the design that is going to go on our t-shirt. I'm going to place it here. And then the freezer paper, since I'm gonna cut it on its own, is going to be facing down. The coated side needs to go down. Perfect. And then with the roller, my favorite tool, you know how much I love this tool. Do a little investment. And then let's fit it to the Cricut. I'm gonna move it a little bit down here. And let's cut this. Let me flip. Now let's just remove the freezer paper from the mat. Be very careful because this is the one that we're gonna be using. We're gonna be using this main page for our project. So make sure that you don't break it or anything. Perfect. Now here you're going to have a couple of things that fell out of the letters. For instance, you know, from the letter D, the hole that goes in the letter D, or the R, E, A, and a couple ones. So if you're okay with that, you can just transfer it like that. But I always like to have my projects to look the way I designed them. So I'm going to save this. Let's just transfer our project so you can see how to do that. And then we'll do it with the socks. So we just cover, you know, what you need to keep in mind. If the fabric that you're gonna paint on is very thin, you really have to protect the other side so it doesn't bleed. So you can use a piece of cardstock very easily and then place it underneath where your design is going to be. Perfect. Oh, very important. Make sure that before you do these sort of projects, you wash your fabric or your t-shirt, because nowadays there's a bunch of chemicals in our t-shirts. So the paint may not stick very well here. Now I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of this extra paper, and I can actually use it for the socks. And then let me cut it here. And now we are going to bond the freezer paper to our t-shirt. So make sure that you align it well. And you can use the easy press if you have it. I have it, but sometimes when you don't have things and you see a tutorial is using that thing, you feel discouraged. And I want to make sure that everyone that wants to make these sort of projects feels empowered to do it. This position looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to use my iron and bond it. I like to use the iron to the highest setting. However, check out the type of fabric you have and how much heat it can resist. But this will allow the thing to completely stick to the t-shirt. Now I'm going to be placing the holes that fell out in my project. The reason why I leave them in the mat is because I can see right away which one is which one. Like, it doesn't matter at all right now because everything is very evident, but if you have a large project, it will really make a difference. So place very carefully the iron there and then just start iron each one on their own. I like to start with just one little tip. Oopsies. Perfect. I have my design here on my t-shirt. It looks really nice, but it's time to cut the design for our socks and then we'll paint. Let me set this aside and we'll get to it back later. Here is my freezer paper. This is the regular side and this is the coated side. You cannot really see it on the camera, I'm sure. And this is the roll that I got for using my freezer paper here and having it, you know, like hold it in place. So I'm going to cut this roll. And again, if you have carrier sheets, make sure they are heat resistant carrier sheets. You can use them as well. I didn't have any, so now I'm going to open this, and I'm gonna toss this in. I have to make sure that if you're using a carrier sheet, the coated side goes up. Very important. And then you can use the roller. Again, my favorite thing in the world, to smooth everything out. I can even turn it around and have everything nice and ready to go. Perfect. Now I'm going to place the carrier sheet on top of my mat. It has to be the coated side up and the carrier sheet facing down. Perfect. Now you will have to excuse my cuts. They don't look really pretty or even. Make sure though that when you're cutting them, that everything fits in your mat. Perfect. Now I'm gonna open this up and feed it to my machine. Let me move it up. And now I'm gonna click on make it. Remember, your design has to be mirrored if you are using carrier sheets. Okay, my Cricut is done cutting, and now you're going to see why is it that I love this method so much. It is so cool. Now let me remove the freezer paper, and now we are going to with our design kind of like we would normal iron on, although it's so easy to just do it with your hands. Unless you have a very intricate design, the wither would be great. I don't think I'm gonna use it. But do you see how everything holds in place? The only extra work we had to do was to just, you know, stick the freezer paper to the carrier sheet. But then everything is gonna be so much easier. Perfect. Now let me move this aside. And now I'm going to cut to do our socks. Perfect. Here they are. I decided to go with dark colors to show you guys how the paint behaves in dark colors. If you have an Easy Press Mini, I don't know if you've seen my review about it, but if you have it, it's a really cool thing to have when you're doing this sort of transfers on socks. Now let's remove the carrier sheets. Make sure you don't get burned, please. I don't want you to ever get burned. It's hot, hot, hot. When in doubt, just let it cool off or use the tweezers. This one's already here. It's already cooled up. Now let's move on painting. Should we start with the socks or with the t-shirt? Let's just start with the socks because they take longer to dry. There is two brands that I really like. This is called the Deco Art Fabric Metallics, and I really love this brand a lot, but it's not as pigmented as the Speedball, which I really like, but the softness of this paint is just amazing. And we're gonna be using this one for our t-shirt. Let me show it to you. Isn't it so beautiful? For our t-shirt, I'm gonna be using the Speedball brand. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a video about just paint, because I spent like $200 in paint trying to find the best paint for this project. And for painting, there's a lot of people that just recommend sponges, brushes, whatever. I like this better. I felt I had more control. I like the finish better. I didn't like how this looks. I want to try some projects with a sea sponge because they look really vintage and beautiful. But these, they just don't, I didn't like them. But it's preferences. You have to do what you like and try. Now this paint is so pigmented, and when you are working with fabric, with dark fabric, make sure that you are picking paints that are meant for dark fabric. They usually are called opaque paints. Am I pronouncing that right? I don't know. Let's just do this. Take our time. Just make sure you don't lift up the freezer paper while you're painting. Okay, so I'm done painting my socks and I'm gonna let them dry, and then in the meantime I'm going to paint my t-shirt. My socks are drying and now I'm going to paint the t-shirt. I'm going to go back again with the iron and kind of make sure that everything is nice and bonded. We don't want any sort of gaps where the paint can seep through. This looks good to me. And we're going to be using this beautiful paint. Isn't it so pretty? Okay, so let's shake it well and let's start painting. Again, make sure that you have a cardstock or something that can protect your t-shirt underneath. Let's get painting. Again, less is more. And for this one, I really like using 2 coats. Okay, I'm done with my second coat. Since this has like the paper underneath, let me show you how it looks. I have to wait till it dries off completely so I can remove that, but you know what, I'm just gonna get my hair dryer and let's just use that to speed up the process. How about that? Let's do it. Okay, everything is pretty much dried now. I'm going to remove the freezer paper. So that's for it with the socks. They look nice, however, I didn't wait till the paint was completely off, so it doesn't look as perfect as it should look. What do you think? This one, the lint really came off like really ugly, like on top of it, because again, I didn't wait till everything dried up. I can be very impatient, and my husband is coming home soon with our son and I had to finish filming by then. But you just make sure you wash your socks. I made other ones that look really nice. Look at these ones. They look so good, don't you think? And I had the time to let them dry completely and everything worked pretty well. Now let's do this one. Oh, I'm excited to see this one. Oh my gosh, isn't this so beautiful? Wow. I love it. Look at that. That is so beautiful. And this paint is so soft that, oh my gosh, I just love it. Something very important that you have to do when you use this method is heat setting. Heat setting is something that allows the paint to stay in. So when you wash it, the colors stay nice and vibrant. Now here's the thing, this is finishing drying, so I cannot heat set it right now, but I do have some other projects that I made before and I like to show you how to heat set, so you would just repeat that. A lot of the paints don't require heat setting, but I don't know, I just feel like it's better to heat set. What do you think? Because I'm gonna show you what happens when you don't heat set. I did the test for you. And do you see how this black came out? It looks like gray, except that it wasn't gray when I made it. It doesn't look good, right? To heat set your fabric, you are going to use, you can set it on the other side like this. let's just put the cardstock in here just in case. And then for a couple of minutes with the iron to the highest setting that it can support, just iron it, constant movement, so your fabric doesn't get burnt. And then you can do little passes here and there. You can also use parchment paper to protect your fabric. So do it in front of the design, or an iron cloth. I don't have an iron cloth, so parchment paper would add that protection your fabric needs so it doesn't get burned. So you go like this for about 2 to 5 minutes and keep moving it, and this is going to completely set the paint so the colors stay vibrant and beautiful forever to come. After heat setting, there is something very important that you have to do, and is to let it cure. Don't wash seriously, the more time you give this project before you wash it for the first time, the better. Some websites say 24 hours. Other websites say 5 to 7 days. I would just wait 5 days before you wash it for the first time. But doesn't it look so beautiful? Like, this is another project I made. I like it a lot. So beautiful. I'm going to clean everything up. Let's just wrap up this video. Okay guys, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. I hope you learned from the things that I did well and from the other things I didn't see coming, like the socks. I mean, they're still cute, but I just want to warn you, make sure that your socks are not that new and then you washed it multiple times before you do this project, because when you remove the freezer paper, the lint comes out, and then that goes right into the paint, and that's just terrible. Also, make sure your paint is completely dry. Don't be impatient like me. I have an excuse though. I have to go soon, but you just don't rush it. Now, for the t-shirt, I think that is a win-win-win, don't you think? Look at that. Oh my gosh. Isn't that so beautiful? Look at, I made it here too. This one says #blessed, and now this one says #dreamer, and it's so beautiful. I love it. This is just amazing. I love this paint. I love the effects, and that's it. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a video about the paint, only talking about paint, and what other things you would like to see. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.